Hey, welcome. I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. I am here with our three contestants for our first event in the faction games. We've got MTG Jedi, we've got Smiley TK, and we've got YST. So these are going to be our competitors for the first event, the Dragon event, and I wanted to bring them on, talk with them about it, get their opinions on what they're going to be doing and ideas about the faction games in general. We're going to be doing these kind of interview videos before each of these events. So when this goes out, the Dragon event should be going as soon as this video goes live. The Dragon event should be in a couple hours after that. So you're going to want to tune in for that so you can watch the video, hear everybody's thoughts, and then immediately go over to the stream and catch the event live. So it should be a lot of fun. Just catch it on Twitch. And if you're wondering when all the events are, you can go to my website. We have those listed out there so you guys can follow along and see when everything's happening. So guys, thanks for, first off, thanks for doing the events, and also thanks for coming here today and talking with us.
Anytime. We appreciate you having us on and for putting this all together as well. Great job, man.
Well, my pleasure. My pleasure for sure. So you guys all have to do the first one, which I think is probably a challenge in and of itself because, you know, who knows what to expect. How are you guys feeling about it? Anybody nervous or excited? What's the thoughts going into this so far?
Go on, guys.
Oh, I'm definitely nervous. I'm definitely nervous going into it. This is my first time in one of these competitions, and I feel like one of the three of us has a specific advantage, and I don't think that that's me, so we'll see what ends up happening, but one of these factions seems a little bit more suited towards good dragon runs, but it's been super fun messing around with like new champions that, you know, we've probably had forever but never used. Like I think I maxed 3 or 4 champions out from High Elves today. So it's been fun. It's been super fun.
That's exciting. That's exciting. Yeah, I mean, are you guys all kind of using champions that you weren't expecting to in your tests and runs so far?
Yeah, for me, I think 90% of the champions I've been using, I've never used on my account. So it's like whipping them all out the ball, ranking them up. So it's been fun, like seeing all the damage capabilities, the synergies, and going back to the stage 20 speed tuning as well. Like I'm so used to stage 25 and everything, and it's like, hold up a second, we're going too fast here. So yeah, it's pretty. I'm enjoying it. It's cool.
Yeah, like most of the champions I've used in the past, but I've been trying to try out other champions I've never really used much. And I said this earlier, but I went through 1,000 ancient shards trying to pull a specific rare champion, and that was Steelbound Sawyer, because I really wanted to see like what she could do in that scenario for stage 20. And unfortunately, it was a bit of a disappointment still. So yeah, but
well, that's good because I think we established you can't pull champions for this event. You have to have them. No.
Oh, really?
Guys, breaking news. Smiley TK, cheater, trying to break the game.
Disqualified.
Wait, where was this in the written info? I didn't see this.
We talked about it on stream yesterday.
Oh, I wasn't there for that. I don't think I was there for that. Was this before or after the stream?
It could have been after.
It was during the stream. It was during the stream. Yes, 100%. I just rewatched the video of it as we had it on YouTube, and yeah, it definitely was in there.
My bad. Well, good thing I'm not using that champion, right?
It's good. I'm glad it didn't work out for you. That worked. That's perfect.
But
while we're on the topic of rules, did we establish a team max, like a power limit?
Yeah, we did. I think it's in there. It's going to be 350 player power for the 5 champions. So, which I think should be pretty reasonable. Like we were able to build our clan boss teams in the draft with 350 player power. And we were able to build them pretty strong. So I think that should work for everybody here. I wanted to make sure that, you know, it's not too much for some of our competitors that have amazing accounts, but I feel like that's, you know, gives a lot of room for people to grow.
Yeah. I don't know. I might have to step up my game because I'm not close to that number. So
well, that's the thing. It's like you don't necessarily have to do that. And this is actually something I tell people all the time when they talk to me Arena. That I'll show a video and they'll be like, "Well, so much player power, I can't even do that in Arena." It's like player power is based off of very specific stats, so it doesn't necessarily indicate a strong team. This is actually going to have more of an impact for the arena teams. It's going to have more of an impact for the Hydra teams than I think any of these dungeons are. You know, true. So I'm not. It's one of those things where I didn't really want to limit anybody, but I also didn't want people bringing in, 5+4 champions with 300
Right.
speed on them. So I figured it
Good.
gives us
That's
a
good.
little bit
Was
of an
there
equalizer.
was there any limitations on plus champions?
Nope, none of that. That's why we have the player power limit. It kind of covers the general stuff, right? It allows us to keep everything kind of tampered down without having to say you can't use this or you can't use that. And speaking of the rules, I guess I might as well cover those for you guys, right? And for the audience out here. So basically what we're going to be doing tomorrow is we're going to be competing in dragons. We're going to be, each of these gentlemen is going to bring a team from the faction they're assigned, right? So I know for each of you guys, you have your own faction, right? Smiley's going to be using the Dark Elves. MTG, you're going to be using the High Elves. And YSC is going to be using the Orcs. And the idea is they're going to try and do the fastest Dragon 20 clear that they can. The key is, of course, obviously, it's going to be live. We're going to be streaming this. So they're going to stream. They're going to show me their run. I'll put it up on the video so everybody can watch it. And we're going to give everybody 3 heats, basically. And so they'll take the fastest out of those 3 heats to see which happens. So it'll be interesting to see if that makes a difference, how much RNG plays a real factor in these kinds of things, how precise your teams are. I'm actually curious, are you guys, relying on RNG a lot for your teams here, or is it going to be pretty much a steady run every single time?
I try to go for the most consistent team because we only get 3 shots. I did use some sort of RNG aspect to it, but I mean, if it happens, it happens. But I try to be as consistent as possible. I think that's the most important thing. But one more thing I want to add is that when we go live on the drag or the I guess the runs, we have to use 60 cap FPS, not unlimited. So that makes a huge difference in the timer because it's about a 10 to 15-second difference on the
That-
actual like fastest.
That's very true. That's very true. One, we're streaming, so it's going to be a little bit hard, and also not everybody's systems at the same level, and that gives us kind of a more of a level playing field to be able to keep that.
I was gonna
working.
say make everyone do a limited, but then I didn't want to limit the people that can't do it, so it's a bit unfair. So 60 FPS is cool.
Yeah, as long as we have a standard base, it should work out just fine.
Wait, does Orcs get to use unlimited?
I don't believe that's how that works.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
believe. Yeah,
I just
no.
thought it came with the faction. I was just reading it here, unlimited only.
Oh, just for Orcs. I didn't realize I'd put that in there. That seems like a pretty good rule.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if I wrote it down, I guess that's just facts how it is then. How are you guys struggling with like having to use a specific faction? I know you guys already talked about bringing in a variety of different champions, people that you haven't used before. How limiting is it? Because we have every once in a while we have these tournaments in the game where it's like you have to use a specific faction to clear spiders or fire knights or whatever. We have those advanced quests that kind of do the same thing, but I think most people end up skipping those, or there's a few people that I have the champions, I can do a few of these runs just to win something. But I don't know that how much we actually get into the weeds and actually try to perfect a team like that. I feel like the game's really designed to utilize champions across factions as much as possible. So it's kind of interesting being really limited into one because each one does kind of have their own tendencies as far as like, what they are good at, their best stats and abilities and stuff. So what have you guys kind of, discovered along that pattern of like, how hard is it utilizing only one faction? I don't know if you want to start us off, MTG.
Yeah. So I think that because we were able to choose which faction goes with which event, that gives us the flexibility to put the factions where they are more suited. But the restriction of one faction is it's real. It's a real limiting factor. Every faction is not created equal. Like if you go compare high elves and dark elves, it's like I have 50% of the champions to work with. Granted, in those half the amount of champions, the caliber is higher, and that's one of the reasons why we went with high elves, because their overall champion quality, their average power level is higher, even though they're still one of the smallest factions.
Yeah.
But you definitely have to use a lot of strategy, go look at all of the kits from all these champions that, you probably have a better version in another faction, but like if you're only using the one faction, they could be really, really good. The other thing that's really been on my mind is that we're doing level 20, and I think that was a brilliant decision on your part to switch us to level 20 instead of 25, because it drastically is going to change the enjoyability, I feel, and we're going to be able to use a lot of cool champions, whereas if it was 25 we would not.
Yeah, I remember I think I was trying to use 20 all the time, and I misspoke in my first video on this. It said 25, but one of that things about 20 is like you can actually have runs under 2 or 3 minutes, which works a lot better when it comes to like trying to actually film this stuff and record it and have people watch it. Also, and you're right, like you can do damage a lot easier to the waves and stuff, so it's a lot easier to bring in different kind of champions and have them be successful in that. That's cool.
So like the second thing that I was thinking was like, level 20 we're locked in on affinity. And so your faction may or may not be suited to go up against that affinity. And that's like a really subtle but difficult challenge that you may or may not have like options to be able to change champions due to affinity reasons. But the nice thing is like before level 25 dungeons, we didn't have faction guardians. And I feel like that brings a really big boost to people's accounts so that it makes level 20 dungeons a lot easier for the majority of players. And that's going to help us here in this specific situation as well.
Yeah,
So
those players that are like new to the game in like the last 6 months or so don't know what it's like not to have faction guardians, and the amount of power that adds to your champions is significant. The amount of defense, HP, like I constantly realize like getting to these speeds I do for clan boss videos is a lot easier than it used to be, and that is a huge part of that. Getting all of the stats is a lot easier than it used to be. We never used to really see 7k attack champions, and now it's like, oh, there's a lot of people that can put out 7k attack because you're getting huge bonuses from things like faction guardians. Smiley, how's it been for you working with the faction specific? You're working Dark Elves, right? Yeah, so you got a pretty easy road, I would imagine, comparatively.
Look at that smile. He's so
It's
happy.
it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, just using Seer for so long and going on Dragon 25 for so long, I haven't really hit Dragon 20 in a really long time. So it was a bit of a taking a back, like going back to the I guess like the old days, just try to figure out a different method. But like just like MTG said, there's the Faction Guardian slash that helps out a lot to do a lot more damage. And yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Okay, cool. Well, I don't want any spoilers for the actual show tomorrow, so that's fine. What about you, Wesley? Have you been? How's the orcs treating? I think that has to be the biggest surprise across the board is you selecting the orc faction to begin with, and then I think everybody's going to be really curious how you're going to be able to compete with them because they're not known as a really strong faction overall. Some really strong individuals, but like overall, maybe not known for that. But I know for myself, orcs have a lot of great champions in that in there, and actually a little bit better balance than I think people give it credit for. So I'm kind of curious to hear what you think.
Right. I just want to clear this up because people in the comments are gonna be like, "This guy is so crazy. Why the heck did you choose the orcs?" So guys, yesterday, if you was watching the live stream on Deadwood Jedi /twitch.tv, if you want to go and follow him again, basically, obviously I wasn't there for the first half. I was at work and stuff, and then I wrote a list of factions that I wanted. And me being silly, I put orcs at the top of the list, but I never intended it to be like my first pick. I was just listing out factions that I wouldn't mind. And yeah, so these guys have just rushed in and be like, "Yes, we got you the orcs." I was like, "Huh?" So I've come back into the stream and I was like, "Oh damn, there's so many factions left that we could have had." But I still am happy that I've got this because it's allowing me. Go on.
You didn't mean to pick orcs?
Not as a first choice, no. But that's kind of it was my fault because obviously he told me to say it in that order, but I didn't see that part.
What would you have picked if you had a choice?
If I had a choice, it would have been Dark Elves or the Shadowkin for fun, because I think everyone would want to see that.
Would you have chosen any of the ones that were still available over?
Not for dungeons, no. I think Bannerlords is solid. There's a good range of champions, but if I was to choose that, someone's just gonna ban Rich off the board or ban a Septimus or like no matter which faction I chose, the main people would have been taken out, in my opinion.
I feel like Bannerlord. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say barbarians. I've only got the fusion legendaries. I've never summoned one before, so that was out of the equation for me. And same kind of deal for the Sacred Order. I've got all of the epics, but I don't have any of the legendaries apart from fusions. So I just kind of wanted to open up my selection because I've got a good range of orcs anyway, and I knew which two champions would get banned. So
That's
that was
really
kind
cool.
of yeah, that's why I chose them anyway. What was you saying, Smiley?
And you forgot to mention that the two that were banned are the ones that you don't even own, so it didn't matter to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
I seen that coming. I said like if I was gonna go orcs, I knew that you'd pick Warlord and Seer because I don't think anyone knew that I chose the orcs, right? It kind of
Right?
got
Yeah, we didn't
released
know.
afterwards. Yeah, so kind of everyone was thinking, oh wait, Scratch is gonna use orcs and he's gonna use a Warlord and beat us all in the arena. So we tried to kind of throw you off a little bit as well in that sense. So,
I like
but
that a
yeah,
lot. I like that a
yeah.
lot.
In terms of the orcs, I'd say two things. Plarium, give this faction some poisoners, please, because there is none. There is no. It only came until this faction games. There is one poisoner, and it's some void epic. I think she's from the Doom Tower, Leberga. She
Yeah,
looks like that, and
you
I
gotta
haven't
play
got
for like
her.
7 years to get her.
So there's literally there's no poisonous in this faction apart from a 2.5% in a rare, and there is what was the other one that they don't have? There's one Termi, a manipulation champion.
No,
So
there's a bunch.
no, not in terms of epics. There's only one. I've
Oh,
looked through.
epic. There's two.
Yeah, yeah. I think in the rares there's one. I think as well.
So it's a limited selection you got there. It's a
Oh,
limited
no,
selection.
one. I think there was one legendary as well, maybe. Growhawk the Bloodied, but he's affinity problems. So
Are you doing Fire Knight also?
I don't know. We're gonna have to save that for another video.
Okay.
But
Smart.
yeah, it's pretty cool though. I've been enjoying it, maxing up new champions, seeing their damage capabilities, trying to beat my own high scores and stuff. But it's been a challenge because this is the first event, right? So I've literally got like 24 hours to build this team out of nothing, pretty much, with no poisoners.
I think that's
So
the hardest part. It's one of the reasons why I put Dragon first and Spider second. Is I figured these are the ones that are most straightforward as to how to build it and how to, build, make a team that can be successful. So I figured give everybody, even though you have the least amount of time, you'll be able to get to a decent spot with that. Okay, I guess, final question really. Who's going to win? MTG Jedi? No, Smiley.
wait, wait. He's in the wrong position. You're supposed to put Smiley on the top and point down afterwards. So he's talking about me. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right.
One thing I do want to add though is I thought it would be a complete cakewalk because I was expecting like a super, super, super fast, like
Yeah,
I'm
I
talking
agree.
like 20-second run, right? But then like once I started to put the teams together,
Mm.
it was a lot different than I thought, like a little bit harder than I expected it to be because of
Wait,
the limitations on champions.
Smiley, did
That's
you
good.
say that you
I'm glad
struggled
to
with
hear
20
that.
seconds?
Yeah, I was expecting like a 10-second run or something.
Oh, I'm already under 20 seconds, so you're in
Oh, I guess I
trouble.
lost. I guess I lost
Yeah.
then.
I have to say, I'm actually really looking forward to this. I know the community is really looking forward to this because this is such a cool and unique challenge, I think. And this is, one of the things I always like to do on my channel is kind of like not just show people successes, but also explain how we got there so that they can find their own ways to do that. And what I'm really excited about this is that because we're forced to be off meta, we're forced to utilize our skills and to find the creative avenues to create those successes, right? And so I'm really excited to see what you guys are able to come with tomorrow because I think that's going to be really interesting. And my guess is actually these runs are probably going to be a lot closer than people might expect. We might have a front runner already, right? Team USA might be in the competition, but I wouldn't count out the other competitors here because I think that especially when it comes to something like Dragon, it's pretty I think it's very reasonable to get fairly similar results even using a wide range of different champions. Especially and there's some exceptions, right? If you have big max HP type exploders that can really speed up your runs, but because most of them or many of them we're taking out, it I think makes it a little bit easier to as a whole build up these teams to be fairly similar in their approach. So I'm actually really interested to see who everybody's chosen. I guess my one last question is Smiley, are you using all legendary champions or do you have a mix? MTG, YC, kind of same kind of question. Like, what is the range of the types of champions you are bringing into this?
Mostly
It's
legendary champions, but
But not all.
But not all.
Okay. All right.
I actually think I already know Smiley's team, but I don't want to spoil anything in case I'm right. But it's
I-
pretty obvious. I'm literally looking at his team, like on my game, it's got his champions and then his face there. I can just see his team right now.
What do you think? Can you guess my team, YST?
Um, you can probably guess Smiley's as well, right? But let me guess. Wait, you're on high L's, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure anybody's going to expect my team. I'm not sure.
Um,
And you, what about uncommons? We're allowed to use uncommons, right?
Yeah.
Whatever
Yes,
you have,
sure.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I think I've got a good idea of what you're going to choose, especially when you talk about affinity. Yeah, I think that'll work pretty well, but obviously you're going to be under me, so enjoy your bronze.
Oh, okay.
I like it. I like it. Shots fired. Guys, there you go.
Okay.
There you go. We got some confident competitors here vying for those top trophies. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of this, of course, and absolutely for coming on here and talking with me. I really do appreciate that. And I know everybody out there is kind of enjoying this competition and the conversations around it, because you know that's one of the great things about these things. There's a million different ways to do it. You guys are each going to be using 5 champions to accomplish your goal, but there's a whole bunch more you could have chosen from, and I'm sure there's some alternate selections you could have made. And I think that that provides a lot of intrigue with this kind of stuff. So I'm really interested to see how this goes down. I wish you all luck. And guys, everybody out there, make sure, take the time. We have all their links down below in the pinned comment and description of this video. So please go give them a sub, give them a follow on Twitch, on YouTube. These guys put in a lot of hard work. It is not easy, the job that we do. They put a lot of hard work, a lot of love into this kind of stuff to bring you guys, you know, the videos that you enjoy watching. So, you know, follow them back and support them. So thanks again, guys, for coming on. And yeah, appreciate you.
Thanks for having us,
Anytime.
Edward.
Thanks, man.
And guys, I want you guys to hit 1,158 likes on this video, or Jingwon's going to come after you. So make sure you guys show Deadwood some love. Let's go.
You guys heard him. I can't do anything about that. That's facts. He owns Jingwon. He's going to come to your house. You don't want that. So
Don't want that.
He's scary now. Okay. Thanks, guys, for coming on. All right, guys. So next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.